Here we are, and we're going through a list of how to find the best companies or the best trades on the ASX. It's a question that we get consistently, and the members are always looking at, how do I filter? How do I best find them? So Charles Boyd has been kind enough to put forward his process and to walk us through how he uses TradingView to identify the best setups and the companies, the trades that go into his fund. Good afternoon, Charles. How are you?
Pretty good, Christopher. Yourself?
Well, I'm happy. It's a glorious day here in Sydney, nice and warm. And you're going to share us some insights that you have with Foreshore Capital, the process that you take through each day to then identify those setups. And before, you were sharing with me some great charts, and I was surprised at what I was learning just watching as you were flicking through TradingView. So this is going to be fun. We will disclose it's not an ad for TradingView. It's just a really good tool that we both use to mark up our charts and do a bit of filtering. And also the YouTube members, they get access to a whole filtering process that's similar, but different. And I'm looking forward to see how this is different. So how do you want to start, Charles? What's the first thing that you do when you wake up in the morning and I know you looked at the charts the day before the market, but what's the first thing that happens to you?
Obviously, I'll run through the US markets to see if there's what sectors are probably going to have the movements, and then I actually try and eliminate the outside noise and really focus on the companies that I've researched, and I already know what stocks 80-90% of the stocks that I'm looking at, I already know if I'll be buying them or not, or if they're on the watch list. But it's like I try and keep a really simple process. I've gone down the rabbit hole before, having heaps of checklists, but I try and keep it as simple as possible, because it's not possible to be at the desk every single day. So if you're away from the desk, you can still stick to the process and find the best stocks.
Nice. So straight away, I'm thinking, how many companies are on your really finite list? Because a lot of momentum traders just have list after list after list, and we add to them and find it hard to detract. Your succinct list, how many companies are on that really short one that you're focusing on?
It's obviously dependent on the market, but I try and keep it to probably 15 to 30. Once it gets above sort of 30, there's you've got to be able to work out if you're looking at the 56 stock isn't really the best stock that you should be buying. So I try and keep them ideally less than sort of 20. I want to have a pretty narrow focus.
Nice. Okay, well, with that in mind, I'm looking forward to seeing how you get to that list. And did you want to screen share and show us your charts and walk us through how you get to it? And as Charles is loading that up, I'll share it. We have been sharing the 30-30 list for some time. He's aware of it uses the 30 top momentum companies on the ASX and the Launchpad as well. But interestingly, quite often we end up at the same companies through a different way. And I'm going to learn now how he comes to it. So I like this. This is something that you also shared with me quite a while ago. I love it. Do you want to explain to people what this is?
Sure. So I built out, and I've got sort of 4 of these. They're pretty thick model books of Mark Minervini's tweets. So I have sort of modeled my trading style on how he trades. And it's one that, if you know what you're looking for, and if you hear some traders talk about training your chart high, and I found building up these model books a really, really simple process. And just running through, these are the charts that Mark's tweeted before, and I've got them. I've got a fair few of these, and you can see that there are some similarities in the charts. He's looking for the same price patterns. The larger MAs are above the smaller ones, and the stocks typically run up, trade sideways. They have a little bit of a push, come back, and then breaking out into the new highs. And it's quite remarkable as to how similar these charts are. Obviously, there's some of the same stocks because there's multiple tweets about them, but there is a consistent pattern. So he's clearly looking at, if we look at the patterns that he's looking for the top right of the chart. He's not looking for the bottom fish. And I've found that, buying the top right has been the best. Well, it's worked the best for me.
Mm.
Once again, stock runs up, trades sideways, pushes, comes back a little bit, and then goes again. And it's just the same setup, chart after chart. So that's a really, in a nutshell, that's the type of chart that I want to be looking for. I'll just bring in TradingView. So this is TradingView of just any old stock. So this stock is the last one that we're looking at. So it's a really powerful beast on TradingView. And after discussing with a few people that, and I'm not a TradingView expert, but there are I sort of keep it pretty simple. So first of all, this is the scanning button. Click down into and what I'll do is I'll start a new scanner from scratch. So we'll create a new one. Don't save.
Okay, so this screening process, as Charles was writing that out, is it savable in TradingView? It's something that we can sort of create the screen and then just jump in on a daily process and say, okay, well, who topped the list today? And if I look back at it, you've seen there the 1 week, the 1 month, the 3 month, the 6 month performances, and always rank them and sort them by that. So starting afresh, it dumps in there the largest companies on that US indices. And that's what you start with. So it's a massive universe. You probably stash by market cap. What do you start with to start culling it down?
So we'll go to Australia first. Typically, I quite often look at companies over above 300 mil to 2 bill. But for this exercise, we'll go market cap of 100 million. 100.
Yeah, it's similar to what Gary and I filter. So yeah, at 100 mil.
And price, I don't really like anything less than sort of the 10 cent. What we'll do is we'll put it in 20 cents for this exercise. And then you can look at a lot of things in terms of profitability, dividends, valuation. I just want to look at the best performing stocks. So straight up, I go to performance, and I really want to be looking at these range here from this is today's movement, weekly performance, 1 month, 3 month, and 6 month. They're the main one that I'm scanning at. So let's look at. We'll go for 3 months. Now this is where next step is I hit this little button here, and then hit this button here. So now we've got a list that we can make, and these lists are, well, I'll explain it in a minute. That's probably easier. So first couple, KLR. Now this does not look like a Mark Minervini style stock or something with a VCP that we want to be buying. So, it hasn't run up and traded sideways. It's spiked up and now it's coming down. So
A lot back. Okay. Yeah.
I won't touch it.
Toggle through. Yep.
Yep. No good. So
When one you've looked at before, you've marked it up, and TradingView remembered that. Yep.
And I go, okay, here's a stock that's ran from, call it 7 cents up to 60, and it's pulling back. So it's clearly a leader or an emerging leader. So what we can do, Loxley Resources, click on this button up here, and it'll come up with the colors. And I click it on the purple, and all of a sudden it pops up on this list. This looks interesting. I'll stick it on the list. FAL. Now this has been, I know for a fact it's been a really good performer for quite some time. Huge rally. It's pulling back. Volume's been good. What I'll do is I'll actually stick that on I think it's the blue one I have as the emerging. Let's see if we can emerging leaders. So to get these symbols here, it's just the stars.
Okay.
Not there. Go up. Click on the star, and all of a sudden it just makes it easier to toggle through. I'll actually get rid of that one's been okay. Bannerman. Oh, sorry. BMM looks good. I don't know too much about it, so I'm going to stick it on the emerging list. 40X. This was marked up from our
Yep.
previously. Hasn't behaved the way I wanted to do, but it's pulling into the 20 MA, which is looking okay. I'll just get rid of these charts. It has been a really good performer. I'm going to put it onto the momentum leader because it may set up again. And I just really run through the list going from stock after stock. Once I've got, call it 10 to 20 stocks, I don't really want to make them too large. However, I will, and then I'll do it for the same for the 6 months stocks.
Okay, so just on that for a second, you moved from 3 months to 6 months. You
Yep.
ranked them at the top performers for the 3 months, and you just eyeballed them. At the beginning, you talked about your chart eye, and that chart eye we've just seen in practice. You've trained that chart eye based on those Minervini tweets and many years trading as well.
Yep.
But you're trying to identify the Minervini tweet charts, and if you need to, you can alt tab or toggle between, okay, Minervini book, is this kind of look like it? Yes, no. Yes, it's enough for me to add to my list. And then, as you said, you kind of get 10 or 15 or whatever from the top quarter. And then you move over to the top 6 monthly performers after your list.
These are fantastic. And all of a sudden, what I'm looking at is once they're on these lists, we'll see if we can find something that actually looks interesting from a see, here's a stock I would have previously had it on the list, but it's now trading. It's spent a fair bit of time below the 50-day moving average, which is the red line. So
I've broke some lows as well. So,
and I've got no interest in trading it. Focus Minerals.
okay, so you're building out your short list of, hey, these are ones I want to be interested in. And during the pre-market and the trading day, I want to be toggling through these because I know the setup, the foundations are there. So you're building out this short list, and hopefully, as you said, you're trying to try to find something that's a worthwhile chart to investigate. What would you be looking to do in that investigation?
So I then come basically looking for a tightness. So if we compare this to it's a pretty similar looking chart. Stock runs up, trades sideways, takes out the high, trades up, trades sideways, takes out the high, tightness in price, drop in volume, and then expands. So once I've got these lists, and I'm monitoring these lists every day, I'm just literally flicking through and looking for a setup where, say, for example, NTM, is this a buy signal? And this comes down to the strategy. Do you take it once it gaps out through here? And that's what I'll be looking at. There's tightness in this range here. Sorry, it's not as clean, but it's pushed through. Volume's okay. I don't really like the red volume, and then does it set up? But EOS has had a fantastic run. So that's the style that I'll be just running through the list and looking for the tightness, looking for the setups, because I'm pretty sure this stock would have been coming up on the list when it was here as it is now, because it's from.
Oh, definitely. Before it broke out into that September earnings, or what is that, 10th of September or something like that, 12th, it had to be a momentum leader because it was up 171% in the quarter. It had to be on the list.
It had to be on the list.
Yeah.
Had to be on the list. So the other thing that I do, and this is more so during the day, I'll reduce this back, is that I'm constantly looking at the best stocks today. I'll bring this in. TradingView does because if a stock's going up today, I want to be looking at it, because quite often, as we know, if a stock starts running really, really hard, it can push for quite some time. So this is another stock that I don't know too much about, but I'm going to stick it on a list, and I'm going to and then I'm going to look at it further.
So, yeah.
In a nutshell, that's basically it.
Okay. Now, the question that we get here, and this is something that a lot of members and followers and subscribers have commented on, they get overwhelmed with lists and lists and lists. And you touched on it at the start and said, well, if it's the 54th best chart, should I actually be looking for it? Once you've built this list, it's easy to start, not easy to start. You've shown us how to start from a blank canvas, but eventually they get padded out and we end up with sort of dead wood in there, old opportunities, and something that has sort of, we hoped would turn out, but didn't quite. You mentioned the 50-day moving average. Is that sort of the only rule that you use to cull, or how do you maintain it to keep it a tight list as opposed to a broad list?
So I'm pretty really specific as to what I'm looking for. So, for example, I want to be looking at stocks that have this style setup before, obviously before the move. So, if I can build out 10 to 20 names, or even 5 names that have a chart set up like this, and they've got volume, fantastic. However, and I know, for example, like ELS looks fantastic, and then all of a sudden starts trading below the 50 MA. Typically, I will allow a stock to, touch an MA or even undercut it. However, if it spends more than sort of 3 to 5, 10 days trading below a major MA, I don't want to be in it. It's just, for me, there comes a point, it's time and price, and if there's enough time that it's below. Like I look at the 50-day moving average really simply. It's 50 of the last trading days. So call it, there's roughly 22, 23 trading days in a month. So the 50-day average to me is, over the last 2 months, is the average punter making money or losing money? Because if it's trading above the 50-day moving average, the average punter is making money. And if the average, so for example, right now in ELS, the average punter or investor over the last 2 months is now underwater. So that's why it's just a really good gauge. Obviously, the 20-day moving average is typically, if there's 22 average days, trading days in a month, is the average investor over the last month, are they making money or not? So I want to be, I want to
really with the winning traders. You want to be surrounded by those who are happy to push it on, as opposed to those who are trying to just get their money back or just make a 5% loss.
Yep.
And we know from studying statistically on the ASX, particularly the last 12 months, if your trade originates above the 50-day moving average, it's 2.5 times more likely to rally 10% than if it's under. And that's, so we come at it from different angles, but the amount of things that we do very similarly because we have a similar trading approach is staggering.
Spot on. And one thing that I see time and time again is that I'll also cross-reference my list with your list in terms of what you send out on Thursday, because if a stock that I've been monitoring and all of a sudden then it just pops into your top 30 list, like how long does a stock stay in on average on the top 30?
If it's a momentum leader, if it's a top stock like what we've got with ELS, it could have spent 30, 40 of the days in those 3 months where it was rallying hard in the top 30 list. It can spend longer than that. So leaders lead longer than we expect. So if it gets into that list and you've been watching it, what do you do then?
It makes me sit up a little bit straighter and go, okay, I need to do a bit more homework on this stock. So I cross-reference both. It's a really, really good tool. So, thank you for.
Well, this is great. Thank you for sharing. No, I'm happy to do that. And the Launchpad list is another one you asked about before, Aaron. Normally we'll only see them on there for 2 or 3 days. And if they're a good performer, like what you're talking about here with that 50-day moving average, or you can pick any chart, they're probably only going to be on the Launchpad 2 or 3 times within the last month. And then they're going to hit their stride again. And that thesis fits in with your analysis of the market. The best performers that we see hit the Launchpad temporarily and then move back into the top momentum. So all of the things that you've just broken down there from a charting eye perspective, I completely agree with, and that's what the Launchpad is built to do, because I just didn't have the patience of filtering 1,500 charts every day anymore. I wanted to do something else with my time. So that's been great to share that with us. We love that you've really opened up the doors of Foreshore Capital, walked us into how you use that charting eye, how you exercise and train your charting eye, and then convert that through the tools of TradingView filter to what we have. So on that point, we're going to say thank you very much, Charles Boyd, Foreshore Capital.
No worries. Thanks again.
We're going to put a whole playlist of trading education on the right-hand side. So if you want to learn more about things like this, then click on the playlist.